today's preview, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can, while going through a divorce, or you can, if you're not careful, how you can get bitter easily because of the emotional process. So that's where I want to start. And we have to be real, right? Although we're filled with the Holy Ghost and, speak in tongues, and we get prophecy and all of that good stuff. When you're going through a divorce, it's just a really hard thing. You're uprooting your life, regardless of who leave who. And it's a really hard process, right? Sometimes you feel like you can do it. Sometimes you feel like you want to fall back into the rut of what's not working because of the process to move forward. So I want to focus a little bit on that today. And each day you're healing, right? But as you're healing, it gets really, really difficult, right? Even though you're making progress. And one of the things that I would like to talk openly as I'm about to share, and Lexi feel at any point to kind of like cut and come back in, right? And restart the video. But any part in the process, you can easily at any day get really bitter, especially if you've invested a lot. And again, a lot is really relative because, each person is thinking that they've done their best, right? And they're at a point where nothing else will work. But for me, I'm talking about my process, right? And the fact that I have to really be speaking to myself like daily, like when I see, what happened and, where we are and, what it's going to take to get through the final process. And even when you're divorced and you have the paperwork, it's still a lot that is invested in what you had. So each step of the way, if you're being truthful, and I want to be truthful, is that you can really get bitter, right? But bitterness is not going to help you in the process. So part of knowing that you're healing is when you get to a negative place, because you're going to get to a negative place. I have been at a negative place. I am sometimes at a negative place, but it is that I really have to get out of that rut really quickly to say that it really doesn't matter. But, I have to find it within me to forgive and to be healed in order to be my best mom, my best friend, be the best me that I can be, which is the best mom, the best friend, the best sister, because this thing is really hard, right? One of the other things that I want to talk about is that who is your support system? And sometimes you can't share everything with your support system, no matter how open you are and no matter how trusting the environment is. There are some things that you have to process on your own and to form your own conclusion, right? One thing too, I want to say that even though even though I am going through a divorce, I have to be mindful of sometimes what I say, even though in the process you do have diarrhea at the mouth, because I have to remember that even if the other party is not loyal, I'm raising kids, right? And sometimes what you speak out in the atmosphere, it can take on flesh. And remember that if you have children, it can really have an impact on what you say. So sometimes you have to grin and kind of bear it. And sometimes, whatever you're feeling, sometimes it's hard to verbalize all of what you're saying just because of the damage when you're saying it, if you're emotionally wrapped up and not at a place where you can talk through wisdom, right? And an example of that is like, for example, let's say you're doing you can cut if you want, and then